Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Busola. I am a medical doctor working in Lagos, Nigeria. I make videos about medicine and lifestyle and everything in between. If you've not done so already, please check out my channel. I have a lot of videos that I'm sure that you will absolutely enjoy. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing how to pass your PLAB 1 or UKMLA 1 exam and pass very well. I'm going to be talking to you about the resources. I'm going to be giving you tips and tricks on what to do and what not to do to pass your exams exceeding well and pass it just one time and one time alone. If that is something you'd like to see, then please keep on watching. Before we proceed, if you want to get a breakdown or an introduction to what the PLAB or UKMLA exams are and how to become licensed in the UK, I have a video already talking in depth about that and detailing my own timeline as well. So if you've not seen that, please go check that out. I'll leave the link in the description box. It is very educative and I would advise that you watch that video as well, because I'm not going to be repeating a lot of the things that I said in that video in this one. UKMLA is the short form for United Kingdom Medical Licensing Assessment, which is an exam IMGs or international medical graduates are required to write before they can get a license to practice medicine in the UK. Previously, it used to be called PLAB, and currently in 2024, that name has changed to UKMLA. So you have to write two exams, the UKMLA 1 and the UKMLA 2 exam. The UKMLA 1 exam is written 4 times in a year currently. It's written in February, May, August and November, so you can have any of those slots. It is a multiple choice exam consisting of 180 questions that last 3 hours. Okay, so the exam lasts a stretch of 3 hours with no breaks in between, and you get to answer 180 questions. The cutoff mark varies per exams depending on how well students or how well applicants do in the exam. So they usually shift the cutoff marks every exam and every year. So it depends on what the average is in that exam. But usually it ranges around 120, 116, 110. The cutoff mark usually ranges around that. So the cutoff mark is usually above 110 over 180. So this exam consists of a bunch of different specialties, including all the internal medicine specialties, all the surgery specialties, obstetrics and gynecology, pharmacology, ethics and epidemiology. This is a combination of all those categories in varying numbers. They are usually high yield categories. For example, cardiology, endocrinology, neurology, they're usually high yield, so you see more questions in that than you'd see in, say, pharmacology or epidemiology. But again, it is not set in stone. I remember during my time we had a lot of epidemiology questions, which was a bit unusual. So where is this exam written? The UKMLA 1 exam can be written anywhere from your home country, so you can write it in Nigeria. In Nigeria, there are a number of states where you can write. You can write in Lagos, Abuja, Enugu, and I think Port Harcourt. You can write in the UK, you can write in Ghana, you can write in Canada, so you can write from your home country. How long does it take to prepare for the UKMLA 1 exam? I'd say honestly it varies, and it depends on how much preparation or how much work or how much crash reading you're willing to do. Okay, I would say ideally 3 months is an ideal time if you don't want to crash read for this exam excessively. 3 months is an ideal time to start preparing, but again, you can study for this exam in 1 month or maybe even less if you are willing to put in crazy amount of work to run through all your courses and also do all your mock exams. So it is basically individual dependent. Okay, but I would advise, if you can afford to, give yourself more time to prepare for this exam. It gives you a better chance of passing, and passing with higher scores. So now to the important aspect: what resources are needed to prepare for the PLAB or the UKMLA 1 exam. There are a lot of resources out there available to prepare for the exam. There are a lot of question banks, a lot of revision platforms, a lot of text platforms as well, but I'm going to be talking about the two that I used. Okay, the two that I used are PLAB Keys and PLABable. These two are subscription based platforms. I know people who only use PLABable, but I use both of them because I just felt like they represented a good balance of studying wide and also revising. So I used PLAB keys to study wide, and then I use PLABable to revise. So I'd say PLAB keys is great for initial studying to get a good grasp of everything that you need to know. And PLAB keys is in different categories. So you have your cardiology, your neurology, your infectious diseases, your ethics, your epidemiology. And basically the way this platform is that it gives you your topics in keys, okay? So it asks you questions, a very, very comprehensive note at the end of each question, and it is done in a form of spaced repetition format, where sometimes you may see the questions multiple times, or you may see topics multiple times while you are studying each category. So it's really good to help juggle your memory, so you don't only come across one topic just one time, you can come across it 3-4 times while you are reading a specific category. So I think that is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely enjoyed using PLAB keys for my initial reading. And I'd say before you start, the best way to plan for this so that you can cover all the topics and all the categories is to go through all the categories and draw yourself a timetable on how you want to study these categories so that you can run through all of them. If I'm going to be honest, I was not able to run through the entire PLAB keys. That is my own honest confession. I was not able to. There were just a few categories that I did not touch. For example, I did not read anatomy at all because it was very low yield and I was kind of running out of time, so I just kind of left that out. PLAB keys is subscription based, and I think it costs about £30 for a month and £40 for 2 months or 3 months. And then after I finished with PLAB keys, then I moved on to PLABable. I think I started using PLABable about 1 month before my exam. It costs £20 for 3 months and I think about £30 for 5 months. PLABable is an incredible platform in my own opinion, especially because of their mock exams. They have a lot of mock exams. It was very, very beneficial for me. Personally, I used more of the mock part of the PLABable than anything else. But apart from the mocks as well, PLABable also has a section called Gems, which basically gives you key points on different topics, so it is very, very good for revising. For me, I would say again, the most important aspect of PLABable is the mocks, and I would advise that you try and do as many mocks as you can. I think they have less than 20 mocks. I would advise that you do all of them if you can, and while you are doing the mocks, I would advise that you time yourself like you are in an exam environment, because what a lot of people complain about with the UKMLA 1 exam is that there is not enough time. You have 180 questions in 3 hours, which basically gives you 1 minute per question, okay? And sometimes some of the questions can be quite long. You have some questions that require you to calculate, so you need to be sure that you can actually manage your time very well. At the end of this video, I'm going to be giving you some time management tips that actually helped me and worked perfectly for me. But one of them, and the most important of them, is for you to use your time to practice your mocks. So set a timer and ensure that you try and finish each mock before 3 hours, okay? While I was doing my mocks, I was aiming at finishing in 2.5 hours, because when you include the stress or the exam tension in an exam environment, you would realize that you may take longer. So you want to be sure that you have your time management skill on lockdown. It is not enough to just do these mock exams. You need to revise adequately after doing each mock exam. So for me, what I did after each mock exam, I would take my time, sit down and go through all the questions I got wrong. And another advantage of PLABable is that it gives you notes on each question. So after each question, you can go and study the notes and the explanation for the answers that you've already been given. So it is very, very good for you to revise and to practice this way. It would help you a lot. I also revised the questions I got right as well, okay? Because some of the questions, like, I knew the answer, but I didn't really know the exact reason why I chose the answer. I just knew that, oh, okay, I think that it should be this from the options I was given, but I didn't really know the exact reason. So for me, I went through every single question. I went through every single question that I got right. I started with the ones I got wrong, obviously, because those were the more important ones, and then I would also go through the ones I got right. And so if I should see a question that, oh, I wasn't really sure about the answer for this, even though I got it, I will still go and revise and read on the answers and the corrections for that as well. So moving on to the tips that I have for you to pass your exams and pass well. Number one, I've gotten a lot of questions about if group preparation is beneficial. I think a small group preparation is beneficial. I prepared with two of my friends. We were basically the three musketeers, me, Ife, and Mayowa, and we basically practiced together and prepared together. I would say a small group of 2-3 people is beneficial. Large groups, all those WhatsApp groups that have meetings regularly, personally, they were not beneficial for me. I did not see any use in them particularly. I personally thought it was a waste of time. I know people who it really helped, but it just did not help me. I attended a few sessions and I just realized it wasn't for me, and I just never went back. So I would advise that you can check it out. If you have a group that you can join, you can check it out and see if it is something that you feel like is beneficial. But if it is not beneficial, please try not to waste your time and just opt out of the group as soon as you can. Okay, so because you don't want to be wasting precious time that you can be using to consolidate your notes to spend, and just be wasting time and be listening to people talk. I think that group discussions are more important with UKMLA 2 or the PLAB 2 and less so for the PLAB 1 or UKMLA 1. Like I already told you, the first tip I'll be giving you for time management would be to practice your mocks with a timer. Number two tip I would give you, tip that somebody told me that absolutely helped me, and it helps a lot also with any MCQ exam. So you can use this tip for any MCQ exam where you are pressed for time. The first thing you want to do when you see a question is to read the last line of that question. So usually you would see what is the most appropriate investigation for this patient, or what is the diagnosis for this patient. You know, that last line is the actual question part in the question. Okay, so that part, read it first so that you already have an idea of what you are looking at before you even start reading the question. I don't know if that makes sense. So you read the last line, then you go and you read the body of the question, and that helps you already start thinking. When you start reading the body of the question, you already know what you are going for. So for example, if it says what investigation would be beneficial for this patient, while you now start reading the body of the question, you already know, okay, you're already thinking about, oh, what investigations, and you're already cooking that in your mind. So by the time you get to the options, it is very quick. I know some people say read the options first before you read the question. I personally think that also still wastes time. I'd say read the last line of your question first, go to the body of the question, read it, and then pick your options. Okay, that will really help save your time in this exam. Number two, especially in the exam scenario, is to shade as you're answering your questions. I know a lot of people would not want to do this because they feel like they would make mistakes, but if you practice a lot during your mocks, you're already accustomed to answering those questions and you would be less prone to making mistakes. Number three, you may not be able to run through your entire questions again for one more time after you are done with your exams. You know the way people cross-check exams, because you would be pressed for time. Okay, so what I did that I think was really beneficial for me was that while I was answering my questions the first time around, I made sure I answered every single question. Okay, even the ones I wasn't sure of, I made sure I answered every single one, because there's no negative marking in this exam. If you are not sure of the answer, please still pick the one that you think is most likely. What I did was that the questions I was not sure of, I would leave a mark in my question paper. Okay, so I would leave like just a small dot by that question. So I knew that after I was done with my entire questions, I would go back to those ones I wasn't sure of. So I wouldn't have to go through the entire questions again to cross-check, because there is literally no time for that. I had time to go back and reread it and see, oh, okay, this answer I picked still the answer I would still go for, or do I want to change my mind now that I am not so much in a rush? So another tip, and this is a tip on the PLABable mocks, it is very important to do as many as you can, because it would help you get a sense of how prepared you are for this exam. When I started doing my mocks, I was getting 70%, 75% in the beginning, but by the time I did over 10-15 mocks, I was getting in the 80s and 90s%. If you are getting 90% in your mocks, you can tell that, okay, by the time the exam comes, you would at least get an 80% or a 70%. You want to try and aim very high during your mocks so that you are set for the actual exam. So yes guys, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you did, please share it on your social media platforms so that I can help some other people as well. I will be discussing about how you can pass your PLAB 2 exams, talking about other topics in this PLAB series. So do well to subscribe to my channel if you've not, to keep up with the videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to be kind to yourself and be kind to others. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.